Welcome to another Metal Temple interview, and this time I have Justine Daae from Elyose here with me, and it's really a pleasure to have you here, Justine. Welcome to the interview.
Thank you so much for having me. And I really love the way you pronounced my name and my band
Oh,
name. Also, that was cute.
how is it pronounced?
My name, Daae, and Elyose.
Daae.
Elyose. I mean, Elyose would be in German, I guess,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
each
probably.
country has its own way to pronounce it. There's not one good way of saying it, so that's totally fine.
Okay. We will come across that a few times this interview because I have no idea about French.
That's fine. I'm used to promoting all my French lyrics and French culture to non-speaking journalists. So
Mhm.
I don't worry, I'll help you out.
Oh, that would be great. You know, I live actually in near Cologne, which is three and a
Oh,
half hours by train.
so you must have French notions at least.
I have no idea about French, to be honest.
Yeah, but I don't blame you. I mean, I just only know just broken German. I wouldn't be able to have a real conversation.
I,
I
I,
only knew a few words.
I don't even have a broken French.
Well,
But
you speak for an American Webzen, so your English must be pretty good.
yeah, I'm excused. I'm excused somehow.
Yes, you are, of course.
So how are you? How are things? How's life?
Life is good. I just had my birthday trip to
Oh yeah, of
Disneyland.
course. Happy
That's why
birthday,
my
belated
voice
birthday.
is a bit I lost my voice because I screamed on the attractions.
Right.
So yeah, if you knew me, you would hear that it's not my normal voice here.
Okay. So, but you recovered from your birthday party already or not yet?
Not yet because I just came back, but I'm really happy to do this interview and get back to Elyose and my dear work and my dear projects. So that's totally fine.
Okay, so I think you did have a busy time with the album, of course. There is a new album out
Mm-hmm.
now, the next French word, Deviante.
Yes, that it came out 1 month ago, a bit more than 1 month
Exactly,
ago, early
exactly.
February.
I believe you have been busy with it and you are probably relieved that it is out eventually.
Oh yeah, the previous month of the release have been extremely busy because I needed to create a momentum so that people uh, would be excited to get it on the release date. You know, you just can't
Mhm.
release an album and say, hey, it's here. You have to make people anticipate. You have to create anticipation. So that has been my work for the months that before the album release, and
Mhm.
the music, the album itself. It took 1 year for Anthony and I to write the music, and we ended in summer 2022, and then 3 months during the 3 months following 3 months we did the mastering and mixing, and finally the release in February.
Let's talk a little bit about the history of Elyose.
Sure.
You are basically the mastermind behind, and
Yes.
I think you formed that in 2009.
Yeah,
What was the
2010.
idea? 2010.
2010. Mhm.
What was the idea behind forming Elyose?
We were two co-founders, so we
Mhm.
were a two-piece. We were a duo, like today, actually,
Mhm.
ironically. But it wasn't with the same. Today, it's not the same duo. I don't have the same partner.
Yeah.
So we started in 2010, and we released our first album in 2012. So in the meantime, we released an EP, and
Mhm.
we wanted to create a band that blends music genres. We wanted to do we liked electronic music, and we also liked metal, so we were aiming, and I was a classical singer, so we were
Mhm.
kind of putting all this together, and we came up with electro metal with classical singing, and then we released a few other albums, and each album had an evolution. So at first it was more electronic or even symphonic, because we always mix different genres. And today we completely left off the symphonic influences, and now we went towards more extreme metal. And today we have a metalcore twist, which we haven't had before. We went towards new metal, industrial metal, and well, we are still there, but now our sound changed a little bit. I mean, compared to 2012, because it's been more than a decade now. So of course, if you hear our discography, you'll hear that there's been a lot of evolutions, and we all grew up also as artists. And there was a major change also in 2019. I kept the project as a solo project. We were 4 band members, but in 2019, I decided to keep the project as as a solo member, as a solo artist, like a one-woman band. And I had the session musician with me, Anthony, and I released an EP. And so in 2021, that was called Persona. And there you could hear the change of direction. I mean, it was still Elyose, because the singer was the same, and one of the songwriter was still there. And so there was a consistency with the previous albums. But as I was, now it was just me and Anthony as songwriters, so it changed a little bit. And after that EP, we released together as a band, as a duo, Anthony and I. Anthony joined Elyose, and Elyose became a band again, and we released Deviance, so last month.
Deviance, okay. Going back, so 2012, that was the first album, Theogene, I think.
Theogene, yeah, that was the first album.
Theogene, that was the first album. I think there were also some songs from the very first EP on that. So, and then I think there were regular albums every 3 years. Yeah, I think
right. 2015 second album, 2018 third album.
Reconnexion. Yeah.
And then there was Reconnexion in French, but it's the
French,
same word in English, not the same spelling though. And after we released a live DVD and Blu-ray.
The live DVD in 2020, live in Paris.
2020,
I think,
and 2021 Persona, 2023 Deviance.
And just before the live DVD came out, so in 2019, end of 2019, there was this big break. Actually, you were at the time a 4-piece, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah,
exactly. So then there was the break, and basically everyone left the band, and you basically started again.
They didn't actually leave the band. I decided to part ways with them because they were taking music as a hobby, and they had always, because in the beginning we were doing that as a hobby. Then I wanted music to be a major part of my life. I wanted to become professional, and they wanted to keep their day job and keep doing that as a hobby. And I said, no, Elyose is more than just a hobby for me. So I need now to work with people who are professionals. I mean, in their attitude, and who really want this to be their job, not just a hobby for the Sunday, So that's what happened. We parted ways this way, and then I contacted Anthony Chognard from another French band that I loved back then, and I asked if he could be my session guitarist. He said yes, and then we got along so well that I finally asked him to join Elyose as an official member.
That means actually the new era started then basically after the live DVD. And it seems to be, it was just basically a natural evolution, and not everyone was ready to go that step into the next chapter of the band. So
it was a matter of commitments. And they didn't want to be committed in a more professional way. So
But the new era was also connected, let's call it new era from 2020 onwards. The new era was also connected with a change in the sound, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, because I was able to we were two songwriters, so I was still there, but I was able to do what I loved and go towards more extreme sound, it became more metal, you know. It was more my own kind of music, you know.
We have to say Anthony is not only guitarist, he is also songwriter and producer as well, isn't it?
You're totally right. You're totally correct. He's a sound engineer. And at first I hired him as a session musician. So I was still doing the songwriting and he was doing the guitars and he was my sound engineer. So he was producing, he was my musical producer. But then I asked him to become a songwriter because he was a very good musician. And then he became, now he's a part of my team and he's an official member and a songwriter. But at first he was only a session musician. But like I said, we had the same work ethic. We got along so well that we decided to Elyose to become a band again with him.
Let's talk a little bit about you.
Sure.
When did you start singing and how did you come to metal?
I got into metal with Them Temptations' first album, Enter, back then.
Right.
So it was in 1999, I think. I was still a teenager, and I immediately fall in love with metal, and especially when there was very good classical singers, because I was a classical singer myself. So I loved to sing on metal. I loved the metal, and I loved being able to sing with the kind of voice that I had, you know, that didn't fit the what we were hearing on TV, like the pop stars and the I loved Christina Aguilera, but my voice didn't fit her music at all. Shakira, I remember I was listening to Shakira, Christina Aguilera, and you know, I knew I had a different type of voice. And when I heard Within Temptation for the first time, I heard that I could mix my passion of classical singing and metal together. I didn't know it was possible, and I immediately searched for other bands of the same genre, and then I found lots of them, and then that's when my passion began.
Okay, you do have a musical education. You do have probably classical musical education.
Yeah, I started as flute. Flute. Does that make sense? Flute. Yeah, I started as a flutist. I don't know if that makes sense. I just can't find the English words.
I haven't heard any flutes on your albums yet.
Oh, okay. So flute is the right word. So no, because I wanted to do piano, but it was too late because I was in the conservatory and I was 11 years old, and the age limit was 10. So I had to choose another instruments. I choose flute, and I did 5 or 6 years of flute. But my dream was to do piano. So then I started private lessons of piano, and I was still at the conservatory learning music theory. And then I did organ lessons and piano lessons. And at 21, I entered a conservatory as a classical singing lessons. So and then I stopped the organ, and I kept my training as a singer until 25. So I started Elyose. I was still a student at a conservatory, and then I stopped because I wanted to focus on metal. I didn't see myself in the classical music scene. I felt more myself, you know, in the metal scene. So I wanted to focus 100%, to be 100% committed to metal. And yeah, and then I had a day job back then. And as soon as I could afford, could live off of my music, I didn't hesitate. I said, let's go for it. But it's been quite a challenge.
Excellent. But you made it.
Yeah, I made it. I made it. It took me a lot of time and struggles, but yeah, I made it.
You actually describe probably the traditional path of a symphonic metal vocalist, but
Yeah,
the earlier albums did have some symphonic features, but you are not really the classical symphonic metal artist, isn't it?
oh no, we the two first album had symphonic influences.
Yeah.
It has the symphonic twist, especially with the kind of vocals that I had. They were not opera vocals, but kind of operatic still, because of my training as a classical vocalist. But little by little, we gave up on that, and today there's nothing symphonic anymore.
Nothing symphonic anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, the song that has the most streams and views on YouTube is a symphonic metal song. So
Okay.
a lot of people think that we're a symphonic metal band, which we are not actually. And when there's a woman on as a vocalist, and people sometimes think it has to be symphonic metal, while the female fronted metal doesn't have to be symphonic metal.
Yes. I go once a year to a festival that is 70,000 tons of metal, and so I'm then in the Facebook forum and so on and so forth. And this year they did have more female fronted bands than they usually have. And
that's great news.
That triggered some discussion. Some guys in that forum called it then corset metal, because and the thing is, out of these 10, I think they had 10 female fronted band out of 60, which is quite a lot.
Oh wow, yeah. That's a lot. And the previous years there were less.
There were less, yeah, typically 5, 6 or 7 maybe, and this year it was 10. Not even the majority was symphonic metal.
Oh yeah, but they are still called corset metal.
Yeah.
Even if they don't have, because I for example, I don't wear dresses all the time.
Right.
So would Elyose be called corset metal?
Probably yes. Probably yes.
Well, it doesn't make sense. But I'm glad to hear that the French character Cosette from Victor Hugo is famous. I didn't know it was famous outside of France.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yes, I did know, because there was a musical about Les Miserables.
Oh,
but I didn't know the character of Cosette was that famous. That it was even describing the symphonic metal scene.
Anyhow, but I think you are probably right. A lot of female fronted bands are probably put under the overall symphonic label.
Well, when there's a woman and a woman's a female vocalist, and it's symphonic metal. But I'm used to that, because I don't have any symphonic influences now in our music. We don't have any, but I'm still reading in reviews the symphonic metal band at Elyose. And I'm like, why do they call us symphonic? I mean, that must be because of our past, but it's been a while. We haven't done any symphonic. And also with the visual and the culture around the symphonic metal, like you said, Cosette,
yes,
kind of aesthetic. We don't have that at all.
We don't have that. Yeah.
So I wonder why people still, label us as symphonic metal. That's
well, but let's put it then straight. What is the sound? How would you describe the sound of the new Elyose era?
I would say new metal. New metal, or and with a metalcore twist. But yeah, it's modern metal, new metal, alternative metal, a bit like Lacuna Coil or In This Moment. So yeah, I'd say alternative metal or new metal or metalcore.
Right. When I listened to the album, I actually thought there are so many different style elements that I found it very difficult to classify.
Yes,
alternative metal, of course. I heard also some metalcore elements, a little bit industrial / electronic elements.
Yeah.
I even thought a few progressive elements.
And gent also, and also gents. With my voice sometimes atmospheric, or even because my vocals, I don't do classical vocals, but sometimes they are the memories of classical vocals. So it's funny. I always ask people when they ask me, which genre is Elyose, I say, what did you think? Because I want to know how it was interesting to hear your feedback, because I always I need to, when I need to market our music, I need to find the right words for
Right.
describing our music, so I can, try the right people. And it's always challenging to find to find the right label or to the best description for our music. But I
Yeah,
like what you
it
said.
is difficult. It is difficult. Okay, if you think of progressive, of you are allowed to do everything you want to, then maybe it's
Yeah.
progressive. I don't know, but you did definitely do everything what is allowed to do and beyond.
Yeah. Yeah. I like this way of saying it.
You mentioned already Deviante is out last month. So
Yeah.
how was the response so far?
So the reviews we had are very very good, actually. And I don't think we even had a bad review, to be honest. So from the music market, it was very good. And from Elyose already existing fan base, I was scared because we went, a little bit more extreme, integrating metalcore elements, like you said, and going further into the industrial. So I thought that I would lose some fans, but actually it doesn't look like I did. Actually, the fans have been very supportive.
Okay.
The new direction, and of course the sales also have been very good, because as we released already 3 albums and 1 EP, we already had fans who were who would be buying because they knew Elyose, so we didn't start from scratch. So the sales, I'm happy to say that the reaction has been very good, and it was a bit risky, for us to go to another kind of metal, because also I have another band called the Elyose.
Yes.
And it's symphonic metal, traditional symphonic metal, with a heavy metal vibe from metal from the 80s. So, and I had some fans of the Elyose. Also, I thought that they would hate Elyose, because it's so different. It's very modern, while the Elyose is more heavy metal. So I thought they wouldn't like it. And actually, I was surprised to see that some people could like both, like I do. I like both. But and I thought that the Elyose fans wouldn't like Elyose, but it looks like they did. I mean, most of them, at least. And same for Elyose, because and they even said that it was the best album we ever had. I mean, a lot of people said it was the best album. Some people even ranked our album already in their top 5 after a year, and we were still in February.
That's very brave in February, yeah.
Yeah, that's very brave in February. So we were very flattered. We were touched beyond words, but also we were telling ourselves with Anthony, because we are both perfectionists, and sometimes it's hard to live with, because the work can be so intrusive, and
yes.
It's been tough. I mean, we love our job, but sometimes we want it to be perfect, and it can be hard to handle sometimes. And we were telling ourselves, well, this is, we don't think our perfectionism is a bad thing in the end, because it made us make this album that a lot of people like, and a lot of people tell us that it makes them happy also, to hear our music, or that we were bringing some pleasure points. And so we told ourselves, well, we are a bit sick with perfectionism, but it's worth it in the end.
And just looking through what I wrote in my review.
Oh, because we had a review on Metal Temple also.
Yes, that is my review. Yes.
Oh, that was your review?
That was my review.
Oh, thank you. I remember it was 9. We have a 9.
I think a 9. Yeah,
so,
9 out of 10. Yeah.
Wow,
think so.
Thank you. I didn't know it was you. So yeah, let me thank you in person. We were very flattered.
Yeah, what did I write? It's not an easy to listen album, mix different genres that we said already, an experimental album without any boundaries and an ambivalent, and that is, I think, the key, an ambivalence of heaviness and quietness, often connected by the industrial style elements, and a lot of different layers acting on top of each other and kept together by an excellent vocalist. So I think that is probably the summary what I had in mind. Yeah.
Wow, that was that was quite a review, and very accurate in describing, the sound. We really feel like you dove into the album. You did a great job with that.
I did, and it was not easy because it's not really an easy album.
I know, and it's in French. I mean, I know.
Oh yeah,
you
okay.
said
Yes.
you said you didn't speak French, so I wonder what it's like to listen. I mean, I do listen to metal in foreign languages. I like that. I don't need to learn the lyrics. I mean, when I like a song and I want to listen to it a lot of time on repeat, then I start to get interest in the lyrics. But
Right.
I need to love the song first, and then I want to know about the lyrics. But it doesn't prevent me from enjoying the song.
That was not possible given my time frames for the review.
Of course, I don't blame you.
It is actually, and that is one feature we should mention. Well, in earlier albums, there were still a couple of English titles in it, but not this time. So it's now entirely in French.
Yeah, that's a very relevant.
Is it on purpose or was it rather accidentally?
It was on purpose because, I survey our fans a lot.
Okay.
And I often survey and ask them what they think about the language of the lyrics. And, a vast majority of them ask us to keep the French. So, I really asked them, honestly, what do you think about French lyrics? Would you like English songs? And most of them tell us that they don't want English songs.
Okay.
What they like about Elyose is that it's French and that it's different from the thousands of metal bands who sing in English, and that sometimes it makes them want to learn French, or sometimes people are studying French and that it helps them also, or it just make them curious, or so I just listened to them. I said, okay, you guys want French, we'll give you some French. So
it's interesting. It's interesting.
And what's interesting too is that it comes from non-French speakers.
Okay.
The ones that complain more about the French are the French.
Okay, interesting. That's
very interesting. But there are only a few people, but some who want English lyrics. Then I tell them, well, we have older songs that are in English, so you can still listen to them. If you want English, we also have English songs in English. So, and maybe in the next album, I'll do one or two songs in English. Also, I'm not against it. It's just that now it became our brands, Elyose brand, like those French lyrics, and it wouldn't be consistent. We were changing the language all the time,
Well, it's difficult to imagine. I mean, I'm from Germany, so Germany is not a metal language. We do have a couple of bands who sing in German.
Rammstein?
Rammstein, yes. So it would be very difficult to imagine Rammstein would switch to English, to be honest.
Yeah, right. You got it.
It would probably take away 50% of everything what Rammstein does. So
I totally agree, and I love Rammstein because I love also their German culture. I feel like I'm melting in the German culture, and that's what I like about Rammstein. I really love to listen to foreign language, and I wish there were more bands doing that.
But when I think Sodom, for example, they sing English, but they do have a couple of German songs. They even, I think, a German EP, a cover song EP in German, and it didn't sound that great. So I would, if they would ask me, I said, no, please don't.
Please skip the English.
It's very different. It's very different. But that brings us a little bit to the next topic. What is the concept of the album, and how did the songwriting work for the album?
So first, I'll answer one question at a time.
Start with the concept.
So about the concept, it's track can be seen as a chapter in the life of a protagonist seeking to deviate. Deviant means deviant in English. So someone who doesn't follow normal behavior. So a person who wants to deviate from a path that has been set forth by others with a dystopian vibe to it. So we have a song, the first song of the album, that it's a corporate employee trying to escape alienation and surveillance. We have a song about the Black Friday riots, consumer trying to escape its own buying impulses. And we are doing a critical commentary on the consumerism, materialism, and the negative impact of Black Friday on society. You know, that's one of the theme. We have on Le Glaive, which is the second song of the album. It's a woman warrior seeking to fight her desire of revenge. And also we have cyberpunk themes like in the previous records. So Retour réel means back to the real world. And it's an android trying to escape governmental control. And we also have a song that talks about politics. It's called L'Assemblée. It means the assembly. So it's a parliament representative trying to escape compromises in the politics show that we have in France. So we were inspired by what happened in France also. So each has its own little scenario with strong visual ambience, and we wish we could produce a video for each of these tracks, but we only did 3 videos.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a protagonist seeking to deviate. So we encourage people to follow their own path, and that's the concept of the album. And about the songwriting, we were 3 songwriters. So because we have Elyose has a shadow member, his name is Jean-Baptiste, and he's the lyricist also. I wrote one song, but I wrote one of the lyrics, and he wrote all the rest. So we are still working together because I give him how could I say that, a prototype to follow, for each syllables. Because I write the vocals first, and each syllable I tell him how many syllables I need for each vocal line. And we also talk about the themes together, and so we are working together, but he's the most talented between us, so he ends up doing the lyrics.
Okay, that's interesting.
And I'm writing the music with Anthony. So we are both songwriters, and half of the song are started by him and half of the other are started by me. And Jean-Baptiste also helps me on the vocal lines, because I don't work, on my side. I'm doing the vocals, and I also ask for their opinion, and same for the guitars, or the harmonies, and we work hand by hand. And so that's why I say, it's not one person does one instrument. We are working together on the song itself. But yeah, I'm responsible for the vocals in the end, and Anthony is responsible for the guitars also.
Anthony is, I think, based in Canada.
Right. He lives in Montreal.
Right. How did that collaboration work?
We worked. We spent a lot of time on WhatsApp, doing memo vocals, and I also record my screen and to show him my my music session. And yeah, we send emails, WhatsApp, Zoom, or now it's as if we were together in the same town, because with the technology we can be we can communicate very easily, even if we are both at other side of the world. It's very easy to communicate and work from the distance these days.
Yeah, these days, of course, it should not be a problem, of course.
Yeah, and especially we started to work during Corona period, so everyone was working from the distance, I guess. And but he came to Paris to record my vocals.
Right.
So we met in the end. We met, and several times he He flew to Paris, so we met a few times.
I mean, the new era or the end of the old era was end of 2019, 2020, and then Corona started. Was actually, with all the disastrous consequences for especially artists, was Corona actually a blessing in disguise because you were just restarting?
Yeah, I was restarting. I was a solo artist, so I
Yeah,
couldn't do live shows anyway.
yeah.
So, for me, I was in a we did some tours, but we were in a tourist a tour. I've never been a touring artist.
Mm.
I had always, especially in the end, I was focusing on my shop, the Elyose shop,
Mhm.
and that you said that the consequences have been catastrophic, but for me, when I was a solo artist, and then at the beginning of the new era, actually it was a blessing
Yeah.
because the online sales increased,
Mhm.
and so the CD sales. So actually, the shop was working very well.
Okay.
Ironically, the pandemic benefited me.
Mhm.
So when I hear that it's a disaster for artists, and that's because they are not focusing on online marketing or online
Yeah, yeah,
sales.
yeah.
Today, we have fans all over the world, so we cannot do shows in every city of the world. So people buy online and stream online, and
Mhm.
I decided to focus on this, and I thought I could also reach a lot more people than in a small venue. And so for me, going solo and also focusing on my shop,
Mhm.
on also creating new products that are of the same culture of the music. I wanted to extend also um, our music brand to clothes and other merch. So it was the opportunity to develop this
Mhm.
kind of this side of Elyose, and we had to adapt. But for me, it hasn't been a tough period because of what I told you. I understand that people living off of concerts, uh, had a tough period, but not for us.
Mhm. Let's come back to the album. I picked out 4 highlights. Let's go through them. The Glaive is, well, for me at least, a highlight.
For me
I
too.
think a mixture of powerful and heavy riffing and quiet parts,
Yeah.
and it's basically a constant back and forth of the slow parts with melancholic melodies partially and heavier parts. What's your take on The Glaive?
It used to be my favorite song of the album. I remember when I recorded it with Anthony, I was telling him, "Oh my God, this is my favorite song of the album. I love it. I love it." And because he was saying for the last chorus, I had to sing it a lot of times because we wanted to dub the voices, to double the voices.
Mhm.
And he was like, "Sorry, you have to sing it again." I was like, "No, that's okay. I love singing that song. I love it." I can sing it. I can sing it a dozen times on repeat. I don't care. I love to sing that song. So, and I thought I would put it on the first as the title, as the opening track of the album. But then I thought that the introduction of Ils t'ont dit was better to open an album, so I put it at number 2. Which
Mhm.
means that it's one of my favorite. I
Okay.
love what you told me, that the verses are atmospheric,
Mhm.
more emotional,
Mhm.
and that the choruses create a contrast,
Yes.
and they are more like I'm a fighter, and
Mhm.
it hits very hard on the chorus, and then it calms down, and within a single song you have different ambiances, and that's what I like about it. And I find it very emotional, and
Mhm.
even in the lyrics it's about feminism, and I really love that song, and the harmonies on the verses I think are beautiful, and I love the guitar riff. I love the bridge by Anthony. I think it's the best riff he ever wrote. It's really, to me, one of the best songs, but I love all of them. So.
Of course, of course. The next one of my favorites is Vendredi Noir.
Oh, wow. That's my favorite.
Thunderous riffing, frequent transitions again between more aggressive and more quiet parts. And the vocals basically are the really overarching element guiding through the whole track. This constant back and forth between more aggressive and more quiet parts. So I heard this occasionally as concept of breathing. Is that something, because I heard this throughout the album, is that something which may be the new signature sound of Elyose?
Oh, you're right. That could be like the theme of the album. Yeah. Because we like contrasts, and we like the chorus to hit hard, so we try to focus on the contrast and make slow verses and hard choruses, and even in the bridge we have quiet parts and then heavy parts. So yeah, you're right, and that's what you said in your review, that the contrasts were interesting, and we put a lot of efforts into that. Yeah,
it's a little bit like a Spirit Box Light version, isn't it? Because, well, they have, of course, extreme vocals, so you don't do the extreme vocals, but it's a little bit comparable, isn't it?
Funny, interestingly enough, I don't, because I've heard this comparison with Spirit Box, but when I heard the band, I didn't think it would. I mean, in the way they change, I mean, they go from one genre to the other. They mix genres, music genres. But in the songwriting, I didn't find similarities between them and us.
No, I think yours is more complex than theirs, I believe. But
yes, it's more complex and less. How could I say? Yeah, a bit more underground, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. But you said there was no extreme vocals on Elyose, but we do have a guest vocalist.
Yeah, of course. That is the guest vocalist. We come to that because it's also one of my favorites.
Yeah, you have good taste.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted extreme vocals, which I'm not able to do, unfortunately. So I call guests, and I did that on all our albums because I wanted a bit more extreme vocals. I like the mix of clear vocals and rap. Also, there's a rap.
Yeah.
There are rap parts and also growls. I love the mix of all these kind of vocals, and I know Spirit Box do that also, and I think it's very cool.
You mentioned the guest, so let's come to L'Assemblée. Again, mixer of slow balladesque verse parts driven by keyboards and vocals, fast chorus parts, and then the crushing riffs and hammering drummings. And Kokusa is the guest vocalist, and he actually has also some extreme vocals. So, and that is maybe, well, I thought that's perhaps the best example to describe this kind of ambivalence between the thunderous heavy parts and the quiet parts. So what's your take on that?
Within a single song, you have it's like a show, it's like a movie. You have different ambiances, like all the songs that we were talking about. And there's this one is really when new metal, like I like the new metal spirit of it. I like late new metal from the 80s. I mean new metal from the late 80s, 90s, sorry.
90s.
From the late 90s. I this track makes me think of this kind of period, and that's what I like about it. And I really love the harmonies because during the whole album I'm doing my backing vocals myself, but here I have harmonies with another vocalist. And I mean, but Coco was he's doing the harmonies, and I love the mix of the mix of the voice of female voice and the male voice. I love that, and also the rap parts going into it. I think I love the blend of styles, and also when it gets more extreme. At first I didn't think about guest vocalist, but I had in my head those screams and growls, and I told Anthony we should hire a guest vocalist, because it needs extreme vocals here.
Mhm.
And it's also in the lyrics, this voice is about this parliament representative in the assembly trying to escape compromises. And so this voice represents him losing control also.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so it made sense also with the lyrics, that there was a second person there,
Right. It makes sense to have a guest vocalist, but how do you actually decide who is going to do that?
Oh, that's a very good question. Well, first the song would be in French, so it had to be
Yeah.
a French singer. I thought about another singer who was a woman,
Mhm.
but she was busy. So we asked Coco because we knew his own band, and Anthony had worked with him already,
Okay.
and we needed someone reliable,
Mhm.
professional enough to,
Mhm.
to be there during the recording day, and we knew he was reliable, and we knew that his voice was fitting with what we were looking for. And the tough thing was that we were looking for a singer that could do harsh vocals, but also
Mhm.
rap and also
Mhm.
clean vocals.
Okay.
And that's not easy to find.
That's not easy. Yeah.
That's not easy to find. So you had this. He was in Paris, and he was French. He was, he had already worked with Anthony, so we wouldn't have any bad surprises. And also the most interesting thing was that he's in another musical niche. He's in metalcore. His band is a metalcore
Right.
band.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I didn't want somebody from the symphonic metal scene, because
Right.
I really wanted to extend my audience towards this niche. And I thought that when he would share it with his band, we would have the opportunity to be advertised to
Mhm.
another audience also. And that's what I wanted. I really wanted someone out of the symphonic or gothic metal scene.
All right. Okay.
Because people are associating us to that scene, and sometimes it gets on my nerves. So I'm like, no, we're not a symphonic metal band.
Yeah, once too often, isn't it?
Yeah. Right.
You do have, by the way, a few great French extreme metal bands, death metal bands, Benighted, Achiavel,
Oh, you know them.
Gojira. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. There's a good actually in France there are a lot more extreme metal bands than like us, kind of a mix of metal genres. And death metal bands have a lot of success in France, and unlike like new metal or gothic metal, also Coco's band is metalcore.
Mhm.
And there are really a lot of bands that I love, who are French. Yeah.
Mhm.
The most famous is Gojira, of course.
Yeah, of course. It would probably have been very difficult to get, a guest vocalist from Gojira.
Oh yeah, I didn't even try. I didn't even try. He must be solicited every day, so I would have to know him, if he was a friend, I would have been possible, but or maybe he does that, but that would be too expensive. Maybe he he has a too big fee.
And then of course he would need to be part of the video as well.
Oh, yes, because I mean, if he didn't want, like Mark Jansen, I worked with Mark Jansen.
Yeah, he did.
The Connection, and he doesn't like music videos at all.
He doesn't like. Okay, good.
No,
yeah, Mark Jansen would have been.
He says for Epica it's a struggle. So for guest, when he's a guest vocalist, he asks not to be on the video.
Okay.
So we didn't do a video for his song.
Right.
So if the guest doesn't want to be on the video, or cannot do the video because he's not in France, we could choose another single. So
right. Interesting. I do have one more song here among my favorites, Retour au Réel.
Oh, and we did the video for that one.
Okay. So powerful guitar riffing, lots of electronic effects actually, and the melodies, and that was something which I heard only there, included a few Oriental vibes.
Oh, right. We did that a lot in the previous albums.
Right.
It's called Phrygian mode in music. It was kind of Elyose like because I mean a lot of metal bands use that mode,
Right.
like Lacuna Coil a lot.
Yeah. Yes.
And but we thought we had done it too much already. So we on that album we tried to
just once.
Actually, Vendredi Noir is also in that mode, but
Right.
I choose to do the vocal lines that wouldn't make it Oriental. And it's funny to have that mode without sounding Oriental. It's very typical. I mean, it's very unusual. It's unusual. But on Retour, for the introduction and the end, we use that mode, and so it gives an Oriental. An Oriental feeling, like we had in Redemption, which is our most famous song. But it doesn't last, because then we switch to something else.
But apart from that, I notice also there are a lot of breaks in the rhythm. There are many layers in that song, and it overall, and that I noticed some songs, sometimes these songs sound quite hectic.
Quite what?
Quite hectic, quite busy, because there are many different layers on top of each other, and and they somehow go together. And here I think a lot of electronic effects. I like that how basically the end result was, but I thought actually that is quite typical for the sound on this of the album.
You mean there's a lot of details, the arrangements. Yes, there are lots of details, and that's why I choose Anthony in the first place, because when on his mix, I was able to hear everything, and the arrangements are in some of the songs are rich. There are lots of tracks. And in Retour, it was also it fitted with the cyberpunk theme,
right.
Back to reality. It was influenced by The Matrix, the movie, so we're talking about an android who wants to be removed from his cables, his machine, and goes back to the real world, like in the movie The Matrix. And so this cyberpunk background and environment, we wanted to hear in the music. We wanted to hear it in the music too. That's why we used FX or FX or electronic synth and effects. Yes, that was the theme. That was to match the theme of the song.
What I know, when I prepared for the interview, I actually listened to your album 3 or 4 times again, and each time when it came to Retour au Réel, I noticed some new details.
Oh, yeah,
that's probably a never-ending thing.
That's our goal. We don't want tracks that you listen once or twice and then you're fed up with it.
Right.
I like also when I hear a song to find new details and new things that I didn't hear on the first time. So I'm glad you're saying that, because yes, we put a lot of efforts into details, and sometimes there are lots of details within one vocal lines. I have backing vocals, 3 or 4 backing vocals sometimes, with the arrangement, synth, and then 2 or 3 guitars and FX, and the challenge is to make this also fit together, so it's not too overloaded.
Right. Okay, so I think we went through my favorite songs. So Vendredi Noir, L'Assemblée, Le Glaive. What are yours actually? Are there any other songs you have as your favorites, or are
I when I'm asked this question, there are 2 actually that are my absolute favorites.
Right.
One is the same as yours. It's Vendredi Noir, so Black Friday, because within a single song you have like opera chorus that I did myself.
Okay.
We wanted to do a core, but there was only one singer because we didn't have a high enough budget. So I did like 20 takes of the
20 Justines. Okay.
Yeah, 20 Justines, and I love it creates a core effect, and I love the core effect on the blast beats. So I love the mix of classical chords and blast beats from extreme metal. I think it creates very a highlight of the song. To me, it really is the highlight of the album, and Anthony too. I remember in the
Mhm.
studio we were like, "Oh my god, let's do this! This is so epic." And
Right.
so this mix of violence, and I liked also on the chorus. I tried the Migos flow. It's a rap style. You know,
Mhm.
oh no, sorry, on the verses. It's a rap
Mhm.
style that was that comes from hip hop. It's a triplet rhythm and rapid fire delivery of lyrics over trap beats, and that's not typical from metal at all. And I like the the mix of genres also,
Mhm.
going from rap style, and then alternative metal, and then metalcore, and then classical chorus, and I like it's kind of a story within a single song. Go through different phases, and I love also how harder hitting is the main riff. I think it's um yeah, it's very in your face. I love that.
Mhm.
And that on the verses it's more atmospheric. So yeah, I think it's really the one of the best song of the album. That's why we did a video for it. And my second favorite is it's not one that you mentioned, but I understand because it's not very mainstream. It's Deviant, the title track,
Ah, okay. Okay.
because I know that it's a bit special because it looks more like what I personally listen to, gothic doom metal. It has something darker, and we completely left up the pop vocal. I mean the pop vocals. It's more dark and strange. It's a strange ambience. The bridge is very melancholic and sad, and could be I like the weird ambience and the hopelessness it has, but I understand it's darker and a bit more special. I
Mhm.
mean, so but to me, I mean, to me it's also one of the most beautiful song, because during the bridge I almost feel like crying, because of the harmonies that are very
Right.
dark and emotional and gothic, and that's why I like about it.
Let's come to videos. You released 3 videos from that album: Vendredi
Yep,
Noir, Retour au Réel, and L'Assemblée.
that's right.
All videos are storytelling videos. It's not really band play song or singer. Well, you sing, of course, but it's more the story is more in the focus.
Yeah, it's not like a playback of the
Exactly.
band's.
Exactly.
It's not
Yeah.
a band playing, because first of
Yeah.
all, I don't have a band,
Yes.
and second, I don't like this kind of videos where the musicians are just doing playback, and
Yeah.
I
Somewhere.
think we see
Mhm.
a lot of them,
Mhm.
and I find it interesting to propose something else. So we're trying to create visual that
Mhm.
fits the lyrics, and then in Retour Réel it's a cyberpunk theme. So we wanted a cyberpunk aesthetic,
Mhm.
like in Tokyo like lighting, and Android, and futuristic background, so yeah, to fit the theme of the song.
Mhm.
L'Assemblée, we did something more traditional. It's a playback in the studio, and some footage of us when we recorded the
Yeah.
song. I thought it interesting because we had never done that, and that the fans also like to see the behind the scene. When we were in the studio recording, the recording process, how Anthony was coaching us, how I was coaching the guest vocalist, how we communicate, how we work with. I thought it was interesting to show them, like
Mhm.
kind of a behind the um yeah, behind the scene video, and Vendredi Noir, actually the lyricist, Jean-Baptiste, thought of the story. He wrote the lyrics, so he knew that I had to be a policeman arresting a shopper
Mhm.
that that had um, made a mess, in the shop. So we went to more storytelling, also video, and I do playback. I do sing and playback, but not all the time. Sometimes I also play the consumer, and I can see myself shopping in big malls.
Yeah, I
And
saw that. I saw that.
yeah.
I thought actually it was quite unusual for, let's say, a metal video.
Yeah, that's unusual. I mean, that was my goal.
Yeah,
I'm bored when I see just a band playing.
yeah,
So
yeah, me
I mean,
too.
that's just me, and it's just my point of view. I mean, it's just that I really want to do something else.
How does the video process works? Let's say from the ideas to the shoot.
So Jean-Baptiste and I, we think of the story together, and it's a small budget, so we have to be reasonable. For example, for the Retour Réel, we we couldn't, you know, you couldn't have a matrix. At first we wanted to do a matrix, like in the movie The Matrix, but you have to do a movie like The Matrix, but with a small budget.
Mhm,
So we have to find, we have to be creative, and so we think of the story first, and then we adapt the story given what is realistic with the budget that we have. And then we play with the lights, the places, and the director also gives us his ideas, and then we mix all our ideas, and we have like a storyline. And I'm do the playback sometimes to make to remind people that we are a music band still, that it's just not a movie, but it could be also just a movie. I like videos that are the movies without playback,
mhm.
but we
Yeah,
are doing both. We are doing playback and a little side story.
okay.
But during my playback, I'm inside the story too.
Mhm,
And then I for l'Assemblée and Vendredi Noir, I did the editing and color grading, because I like to do that myself. I'm a video editor also. And for Retour Réel, it was the director who did the editing. But yeah, we are basically three people
mhm,
working on those, 3 or 4 people working on those videos. So we have to be creative, because it has to be good enough. It has to be worth watching, but we don't have a lot of time or budget. So but yeah, we are very happy with what we did, and I think it fits the theme of the songs and the lyrics for Black Friday, for Vendredi Noir and Retour Réel. When you see the video, even if you don't speak French, you can guess what the song is about.
yes, I felt so. And I thought actually the video, how all three videos, how they looked like and what the themes are, so that overall fits actually also to, to your style of music, I think.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Let's talk a little bit again, coming back to you. We touched a little bit on inspirations. What and who inspires you in music?
The music, inspired by other bands or artists, or uh, I listen to a lot of music,
Mhm,
and I remember what I like most, and that's my inspiration. I try to find new songs that I love, and then I ask myself, why do I love that song? And then I try to find the mode it's written, and why does it work on me? Why is it emotional? Why did I like it? And I'm very interested in the music theory, and I every time I learn, um, I learn more, and the more I
mhm,
learn, the more I'm able um, to write songs that, I mean, to express my emotions into music. So it's a mix of other bands, music, and music theory. The two of them, that's how I work music. I'm really focused on. I mean, to me, the most important is the emotion, and the harmonies that have to be not too easy and not too difficult. It has to be familiar to people when they hear it, but that we need to add a twist of something more subtle. Also, I
mhm,
don't like pop. That's why I'm not really into pop music, because the chords are always the same. But I understand people need to love the song when they hear it on the first time. So it has to be this subtle mix of you know um, um, surprise and familiar.
Okay. Do you have any favorite vocalists? Who are your top 3 favorite vocalists?
My favorite vocalist is Simone Simons. Simone Simons from Epica. She has one of the most beautiful voice I heard. So that would be her in the metal scene. And outside metal, I also love Christina Aguilera. But she's not into metal. I mean, you know who she is. I really love her voice, and she really has been an influence on me when I was a teenager. I really loved her voice and the way she the way she sings. It has always blown me away. So I would say Simone Simons, Christina Aguilera, and who else? They're not my inspirations to say, but they are the singers that I love to listen because I love their voice.
Yes.
Who would be the third one? Let me think. I don't know.
Many third ones.
I don't think of a third one. I think these two are my favorite.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. It's interesting that your favorite metal singer is a symphonic metal singer.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about the music. I'm talking about her voice. So
of course.
she could sing in any kind of, band.
Yeah, yeah. Let's get personal. I have a few questions for you. It's very simple. It's either or, and you tell me what you prefer. I give you 2 options.
Oh, okay. And I have to pick one.
And you have to pick one. Either that or that.
Oh, that's easy. I mean,
it's easy. It's easy. It's easy. Let's start with an easy one.
Okay.
Gym or sofa? What do you prefer? Are you more the gym person? Or...
I'm the sporty one, so that would be gym.
Okay. You go to the gym regularly, or do you do outside sports? What do you do?
Oh, you mean what kind of workout do I do?
Yes.
Oh, I'm a runner. I'm a runner. I love cardio. I don't do I don't lift weights or I like to I like to move and to dance. I love dancing and I love running.
Right. You love running. Paris Marathon?
Oh, I didn't do the full marathon. I did the most I did was 18 kilometers. Oh, 15 kilometers. But I'm planning to do the semi-marathon. So that would be 21. That would be 21 kilometers. But I haven't done that yet. But
that's a great challenge.
Yeah, that's a great challenge, and I'm training for it.
Okay, and I can promise you, I tell you that from experience, once you did the semi-marathon, you also do want to do the full marathon.
Oh, the full marathon?
You want to do, after you did this, after you completed the semi-marathon, you do want to do the marathon.
I doubt it, because the full marathon is 42 kilometers. I wouldn't be able
Let's see.
I wouldn't be able. That's too much. I'm not that young.
Okay.
Congratulations on finishing semi. Wow, you're a sporty one too.
Yeah, it's a while ago, but yeah, I did this for a few years. So
I'm impressed, really.
You will come to that. So it's actually just a matter of
training.
Training. Yeah, it's training.
Yeah. I like, because on my job as a singer and musician, I don't move at all. I'm always in front of the computer, so I need to I need to run. So I do run twice or 3 times a week.
Right.
And I'll do the semi-marathon soon enough. Yeah.
Okay, let us know where
sure. I always brag when I finish a race. So
okay. Next one, car or bicycle?
Bicycle, because I live in Paris.
Paris,
so a car in Paris is a nightmare.
yeah, I know what you are talking about. I come originally from Berlin, and
so you know what it's like. Yeah.
Yeah, a car was never an option, so it was always bicycle.
Well, same in Paris.
Yeah. Let's go to food. Meat or vegan?
Vegan, definitely.
Definitely vegan. Do you have any favorite dishes?
I love Asian food and vegan. I would say vegan first, and then Asian. Vegan Asian is my favorite. I love Asian food, like Korean food. Oh my God.
Oh, okay. Never tried that. Korean food. Okay.
Korean or Thai food.
Yeah, Thai food is always something good, I thought.
Thai
Yeah.
food, Korean,
Right.
Japanese also, but without the fish.
Okay. Cooking at home or restaurant?
At home. I can't afford restaurants.
Okay, so I assume you are then a good cook.
Not really. But I prefer to cook to keep my cost low, and also
Right.
because I like to eat healthy.
Right.
So I prefer to, to know what I'm eating. But of course, I love restaurants, but I would need to sell a lot more CDs.
Right. Okay. Well, just to mention that you have a lot of very expensive restaurants in Paris, isn't it?
Oh, in Paris, everything is very expensive.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
yeah.
Do you have a favorite dish what you cook?
I love chestnut cream. I mean,
Okay.
for sweet.
Yeah.
And for salty, what could it be? I just love vegetables. I know
Right.
it sounds boring, but I love vegetables when they are very well cooked.
Mhm.
I love salads, vegetables. Yeah, that's what I eat more. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's move further. I don't know whether you watch television or go to cinema. If so, do you prefer a thriller or a comedy?
Thriller, definitely. I don't like
What's
comedies.
right? What's your most favorite thriller? What do you have any?
That's a good question. My favorite thriller. Let me think. I'm embarrassed because I don't have any in mind.
Well, there are so many nowadays. I understand that. So, what is my
Yeah,
favorite?
there are many. If I had to pick one, which would it be? I'm sorry, I don't know, and I don't have a big cinema culture
Yeah, yeah,
either, because
yeah.
I don't watch a lot of.
Okay, it would be definitely then a
Oh,
thriller.
definitely a thriller. Definitely.
Definitely a
Oh
thriller.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay.
I love thrillers, and I love horror movies also, but not when it's gory. I love
Right.
psychological tension. I love that. I
Mhm.
love dark movies, but it doesn't have to be violent or gory.
Right. Yeah, yeah. When you go out, do you prefer theater or are you the late night nightclub going out of person?
I like both. But if I mean, I like both. We do both. I mean,
Yeah.
that could be. Oh, you mean theater or late night parties?
Yes.
Oh no, I'm definitely. I don't do. I go to bed very early. I'm not an animal party at all.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, yeah.
Either,
So theater. So that would be theater. Yeah, and go to
the
bed.
early bird or the late night.
I'm not an early bird either. I just sleep a lot, and I don't like to go to bed late.
Right.
I'm tired very quickly.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not very fun at. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not an animal party. No, not at all. I mean,
Right.
I'm not anymore because I'm too old now.
Okay, okay. I will not get any advice for a club in Paris
Oh,
then.
you should have talked to me 10 years ago.
Okay.
I mean, I used to go out a lot, and
Right.
all the nightclubs in Paris. I did all of them, but now now I'm in a relationship, and I like to play video games and watch
Right.
watch TV shows.
Okay, okay. Good. That sounds like family life. Most of the families have, one or the other animal. So what do you prefer, dog or cat?
Definitely cats.
Cat. Do
I
you
do
have?
have a cat. I do have a
Okay,
cat, and I'd like to have a lot more. I'd
right.
like to have 3 cats at least, but I live in a small apartment, so that's not doable for now. But I would
Okay,
love to extend the family to more cats. And my absolute dream would be to have a pig, to own
right.
a pig and rabbits, and that's my dream. But for now, as a Parisian living in a small apartment, that's impossible.
Okay. What is the name of the cat?
Doudouche. I know
Douche.
in French it's doudouche. I know in English douche is not a very beautiful word, but in
No.
French,
Yeah.
it's cute.
Okay, okay. Interesting. Holidays. And France is a very beautiful country for doing holidays because you have basically everything. But what do you prefer, sea or mountains?
I love both.
You love
But
both.
if I had to choose, I would say the sea because I like hot weather. I like
Right.
and I like the sea. I in my dreams, I'm always dreaming about being
Hmm.
in the sea and swimming in the sea. I love to swim. I love the feeling of liberty it gives
Hmm.
you.
Hmm.
I love nature, and the sea has always made me happy. And my dream, in addition to the animals, would be to live at the seaside.
To leave it.
But I also love the mountains. I discovered the mountainside recently, and I started
Hmm.
to learn skiing, and I
Hmm.
loved it also. So really, as long as I'm in nature, I'm happy.
Okay, okay. You do have a lot of places in France to go to. I mean, do you have any recommendations in
Um,
France?
yeah, close to Italy, there's Les
Hmm.
Alpes. Yeah, Les Alpes is a good, yeah, for the mountains, and
Hmm.
uh, for the sea, more the south of France,
The
because
south of
in the
France. Hmm.
north it's cold,
Hmm.
and the sea, the Mediterranean Sea is
Hmm.
good to swim. So I would say the south of France. Yeah,
Okay,
for
okay.
south of France, it's the weather is nice, people are nicer, and I could tell you the city Menton, which is at the
Hmm.
border of Italy. There you have the city that has the most sun in Paris, and they have a very big beach.
Hmm.
That's also a city I would love to live in. Menton, it's called Menton.
Okay, that sounds really excellent. So to all fans, if you ever want to meet Justine, go to the south of France and prepare
I,
for a semi-marathon. You will meet her.
and you have to love cats and pigs,
Yes,
and metal, of course,
and metal and biking and riding the bicycle.
and riding the bicycle, and be a sporty one. Yeah.
Excellent. Coming back finally a little bit to Elyose. You're an independent band,
Yeah.
and the albums are typically financed via crowdfunding campaigns. So for many bands, it's not really easy without support from a label. So what are the challenges and the opportunities of being an independent artist?
We did a crowdfunding campaign for
Yes.
our third album, but
Hmm.
for this one, I had kept a budget for it
Hmm.
from the
Hmm.
sales.
Hmm.
The advantage of being an independent is that I manage my own shop, and I like the entrepreneurial part of the job. Actually, I
Hmm.
love to be an artist, but I also love business, and I also love to have my own shop and my own employees. And I mean, I only have one for now, who's in charge of packaging and shipping the orders from the shop. And I love to be an entrepreneur. I love to have my own fans and clients also because they buy from me. So my goal is to make them happy all the time. So I love to learn about how to improve the customer journey, how to
Hmm.
improve also their experience with our product, and how do they, you know, I love also to market new fans. I love to do the marketing part of the job. These are things that I can do and that I wouldn't delegate because
Hmm.
I think I'm the most fitted for this job. And then when you release another album, you have your fans are there already. I have my email list and my fans are there. I can reach them directly and tell them, hey, I just released a new album. Here's the video. Here's the link for streaming or for buying it. And I I have my own fans and my own you know um previous fans, and
Hmm.
that's very easy to do. I mean, to me, today, with all the marketing tools that we have, and at the digital age with the streaming, with there's not much a label can do for you that you can't do for yourself.
Hmm.
I had a few propositions from labels, and then I asked them, what is it you can do for me? And I there was nothing really, except maybe for the touring, because they at festivals, for example,
Hmm.
when they sell, I don't know if that's the right word, but the headliners, then
Hmm.
they make some deals of, you know making another band of their label play. So it's easier, I guess, when you have a label to be in festivals and to tour with other bands from the same label. But I'm not a touring artist, so for me, I don't think it's worth it in the end. I mean, I made that choice, and I've been fine with my music business, and I like it. I like to be on both sides as an artist and as a businesswoman. So yeah, so that's how I do it.
Okay, you mentioned that already a couple of times. You are basically not a touring artist. You did tours, of course, in the past. Obviously, you have a live DVD, but I think you were touring. Well, you are not really. We are never an extensive touring artist. With 50, 60, 70 live shows a year. Is that something you really enjoy? Because I know that many artists, they are desperate to be on stage. Is that something you miss at times?
I don't miss it that much because I did a lot of shows already. So I know what it's like. I lived it. I had my experience. So now I am excited by other stuff. Now I really love to take care of my shop, to talk to my fans, to do my to be an online musician. I like it also. And also now we are 2 band members. It would be too expensive to hire all session musicians and to pay for travel costs and production costs, and also in a lot of cases you have to pay to play also on the top of that. So we just can't afford it. And I think we would need to be more famous to have better fees that would cover Anthony's flights to France, or we're not in the position of it's a luxury at this point, and we cannot afford it. But I do miss it. But there are also lots of other exciting stuff when you're a musician that don't include touring.
What's next for you? What are the next plans?
So we are going to release new videos, and one will be a playthrough, a guitar playthrough, and a lyric video. And also I'm going to record the second album of my other band, the Elyose.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, so that will be next month. And after that, I need to go back to songwriting for the second album, because Anthony already wrote a lot of songs, and now I need to add my own parts because it takes at least a year to release an album. So yeah, you cannot take your time, And also I'm always marketing the previous albums to new people. My goal is also that new people discover my band. There should be a lot more people knowing Elyose, so that's also my job, to market our music. So I'm marketing our music, doing songwriting, and working for my other bands, and that keeps me very busy.
Are there any touring plans for your other bands, the Elyose?
Yes, we're probably going to tour with the Elyose. I don't know when, but I mean that was part of the plan in the first place. So yes, I didn't get any confirmation, but my guess is that we'll end up touring at some point. Yeah.
I don't know whether you noticed that, but you mentioned something very interesting. You said you start the songwriting for your second album, but it is actually the 5th album.
I said the second album?
Yes.
Oh, that's because that's very interesting.
The new era.
Yeah, that's very interesting. That's my second album with Anthony. Yeah, because that was the first album with Anthony, actually together as a band. So that would be the second album with Anthony as a band. So that the second album of the new era. Yeah, but it's not at all our second. Our second was ipso facto in 2015. So yeah, good points. Very good points.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Very good points.
Is there anything you would like to tell your fans or the viewers, listeners, Metal
People who
Temple?
don't know Elyose, you can go to our website, elyosemusic.com, and this is where you'll find our discography, biography, photos, interviews, and you can also download 2 free songs. And for the other, the people who already knew us, why don't you join us on our newsletter? This is how I primarily update you on any Elyose news. I love this way of keeping touch with our fans. I love email. I think it's a great way to communicate, and I reply to as much emails as I can. Yeah, that would be a good way to keep in touch.
Thank you so much for that amazing interview. I really enjoyed that. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. It was a pleasure, and thank you for listening to Elyose and for all the work you did for the interview. It means a lot. I really like, of course, people who are interested in our work. So thank you so much for this, and thank you so much for helping us spread the word about Elyose.